Hey everybody, welcome to SOC 100. Supposed to be face-to-face, but because so many of you chose to take this course, woohoo! Unfortunately, we don't have a room big enough at Cedar Crest to accommodate everybody, including me, in the room. And so as a result, it goes to online instruction. The good news is I have done this before because of last spring when we got shut down in the middle of the semester. And I also teach this entire course as an online course, a little differently than this, but hey, at least I'm used to that much. Now, two things to bear in mind. One is I'm a technological idiot. So if I make mistakes doing this from time to time, just bear with me. We'll figure it out. You're going to get the gist. So anyway, I'm doing all of these on Zoom, which I'm much more familiar with than Teams. And after we record each of these presentations, I will make sure you have the link to them and insert it into the Canvas course so that you can refer back to the link at any time to watch these videos. Okay, let's see. Let's start off with, let me welcome you to coming to Cedar Crest College under COVID-19 circumstances. It takes great courage to do so. There would be nothing wrong with taking a year off and saying, I'm going to ride this out and hope we got this straightened out by the next academic year. So kudos to you all, whether you're doing this, your courses face-to-face or online, kudos to taking classes during these circumstances. We faculty have been preparing all summer to hopefully be ready for this. There's going to be glitches because we're still learning how to do all this. So bear with us all as we try to work together to make this a very good semester for you. The content we got down, it's how to deliver it that we're all still working on to make sure it's as effective as possible for your learning purposes. Okay, well, without further ado, let's go to the syllabus. All right, this syllabus you will have found if you investigate the Canvas material. It's cleverly placed under syllabus. Anyway, it's the standard course I've been teaching for years here. It's called Introduction to Culture and Society at Cedar Crest, but it's the same thing as Intro to Sociology or Introductory Sociology as it's typically called at other institutions. Anyway, let's get to the most important part of this course, which is me. Now, you will notice I have a middle initial. And when we're in class, I always challenge the students, do you know what my middle initial is? Occasionally, as an upper class student who's taking the course, who is familiar with me, who knows what it stands for. But let's just try right now. What do you think it stands for? Louise? No. Loquacious? That would make sense. Lover? That wouldn't make sense. No, it stands for living legend. That's right, folks. I am the self-proclaimed living legend of Cedar Crest College. Notice the two key words there were self-proclaimed. Now, some years ago, I decided, I need a new persona here. In fact, any persona. And so I decided to call myself the living legend. And to my shock and amazement and awe, it stuck. Not because of anything I do here, mostly because everybody thought it was as funny as I thought it was funny, because it's, kind of doesn't fit. Anyway, so you're probably wondering, what can I call you? How shall I address you? You can call me the living legend, or notice my first name, Maynard. When you have a first name like Maynard, it's like Cher, Sting, Bono. You don't even need a last name. Anyway, so you can call me Maynard. Some like to call me Dr. Cressman, but hint, I don't have a doctorate, but hey, knock yourselves out if it makes you feel better about taking this course. And a lot of times, I've gotten some blowback over the years. People say, man, you are so full of yourself. The living legend. Ooh. Okay, if you find that too over the top, you don't want to call me Maynard. And by the way, you can't call all the professors by their first name. That's up to the individual professor. But you don't want to call me Maynard. You don't want to call me living legend. What else can we address you as, Maynard? How about Mr. Fabulous? Yeah. That's much less over the top. Okay, now that we covered that, you were probably wondering, why am I called the living legend? Well, first of all, have you noticed the library is the Cressman Library? What more do I have to tell you? But other examples are Maynard's rules number 1 and 2. These are rules for success in any course Maynard teaches you. And so veteran students, as soon as I say rule 1, they just rattle them off in concert with each other. It's really it's very reassuring, and it warms my heart to hear them say this. But anyway, go get a pad and a pencil and pen, and you can take this all down, because these are really important. You want to do well in this course, you need to know rules 1 and 2. All right. While you're waiting to get that together, some of you might be wondering, what's the deal with the mountain behind you? Well, first of all, hey, COVID-19 is rough. I'm not leaving the mountain. Anyway, your task is, what mountain? It's a familiar mountain. It's a famous mountain. What mountain could it be? We don't know. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's in Europe. Nice try, Maynard. Can you give us another hint? Yes, it's in the range called the Alps. Still don't know, huh? All right, well, you figure it out. Okay, as you look at the syllabus, you will see the course description, course objectives. These are all boilerplate things. Let's go right to the textbooks and the resources. You need to get these 2 textbooks, rent them, whatever you got to do. Pay for them, however you're going to do it. But get these 2 books, and do not get previous editions. If you do, because you're trying to do things on the cheap, it's going to come back to haunt you. For example, in previous editions of Taking Sides, there are a couple of articles, issues that you must write and read about and write that aren't in the previous edition. Likewise, the exams are all based on the 17th edition of sociology. You want to come in with a 14th edition? May God have mercy on your soul when you take the exams. So don't cheap it, just rent them. Get them somehow, borrow, don't steal, beg, get the correct editions of the books. Okay, technology support services. If you need help with anything having to do with getting online, check these areas out, the IT help desk. Also, you will notice if you go to the far left navigation area in Canvas, where it's in the black framing, you will see at the bottom a question mark. And when you hit that, that gives you access to the Canvas course guides. And there's one in there for students, and it explains some Canvas problems. So there is also Canvas support help in case you're having problems with that. But I would start, if you're having any Canvas issues, start with Cedar Crest Help Desk, because they're pretty familiar with how Canvas works, and they can usually help you out. This course is also, all the exams are monitored by Proctor Track. And so if you're having any issues with Proctor Track, that's how you can get support help from Proctor Track. Course student learning objectives and assessment of student learning outcomes are standard boilerplate stuff of all courses here at Cedar Crest College. Okay, these assignments are explained in infinitely more detail in the Canvas course descriptions. But anyway, you will find, if you go to the left navigation area, not the far left in the black border, but if you go to assignments and click on that, all the assignments in the course will appear to you. So, and you can read in much more detail everything I'm just generally going to go over today. Number 1, read all assigned readings of sociology text before viewing instructor presentations in order to maximize understanding of the course material. Well, the reason for that is, without exception, when students get really good grades in the exam, I ask them why. What did you do? And they all tell me the exact same thing. We listen to what you told us to do. First, before we listened to your presentation or came to class for your presentation, we read the chapter you were presenting on. Then we came to class with our sociology text and with a review sheet for the first 9 chapters, and we followed along with you as you went through your presentation. So if you do that, Then the second time when you hear me do the presentation, you're getting reinforcement of what you already read, or perhaps some more explanation what you didn't understand of what you already read. And then when you prepare for the exam, you now have the third time you're looking at the material. Repetition, repetition, repetition is a key to education. So you want to know what to do? And if you ask me that I didn't do well in the first exam, what should I do differently? I will tell you to do exactly what I just said, because whatever you did, you weren't doing it well enough, and that's how you do well in the exams. When we've had tutors for this course, that's exactly what the tutors said to do. Read the chapters before Maynard goes over. Take your book to class. Take your review sheet to class. Follow along with him as he goes through his presentations. Okay, I go on to say we all had opinions on various social issues before we shared this course. In reading assigned material, we become more informed than before and are then able to more meaningfully participate as students and as citizens in promoting needed social change. Now, you may be thinking, what do you mean we got to promote social change? Okay, let me count the hands. Hands up. How many think the world is just terrific the way it is? There's no need for change. Yeah, that's pretty much the response I always get. Nobody raises their hand. So that's part of why you're going to college. I'm all about promoting needed social change. I am a product of the 60s. I was there in the 60s, not a toddler. I was there as an adult during the 60s. So it's all about needed social change. Some of the changes we fought for in the 60s have in fact taken place, and others are still in process. So if you don't like the way things are, do something about it. College will equip you, or Cedar Crest Education will equip you to do so. Next, this is all explained again under assignments, under personal opinion statements, but basically the idea is to write a 350 to 400 word informed personal opinion statement on each of the 7 taking sides issues that will be discussed in class. Okay, first of all, on the word count. You can write more than 400 words. It's like, why would you want to? You know, one of the things about college is it's kind of a mixed review, because on the one hand, you're going to be asked to write 10, 12-page papers, in which case you're going to try to figure out ways to BS your way through them. Maybe. Not everybody. Some will. That's how I got through college. Oh, excuse me. But anyway, forget I just said that. Erase that from the record. But you don't want to write more than you have to. You know, what's very difficult, and this is what I try to do. I teach policy courses in the social work program. And what I'm trying to do is get the students to write as policymakers want to read it. You know what they want? They want brevity, brevity, brevity. Brevity, yet fully informed. So the trick is, how do I write what I want to say in as few words as possible and yet be completely informative? That is the trick of going to college, and that's what you need to learn in order to be effective professionally. Nobody's going to read your 3-page memos, and yet you need to get all the information in there in a succinct way. So that's why I say, hey, don't write more than 4. If you do, I'm not going to penalize you. I'm just trying to keep it reasonable for yourself. If you're really into something, you really want to write more on it, knock yourself out. It's your time. Now, what if you come in with less than 350 words? Well, then you're not going to get full credit for the paper, because I said 350. And you go, well, I had 348. That's close enough. Nah, close enough doesn't count. 350 was the minimum. Now, I always think it's highly amusing, because I recommend to students when they do these papers, gee, why don't you use word count? That way you make sure you had 350 words. And sometimes students would submit the papers to me, and in the word counts, they would actually have forgotten they would have 330 words there, and they would have forgotten to look at it. And so they submit it, and I say, oh, I'm sorry, you only get half credit. You don't have 350 words. What do you mean I don't have 350 words? Look at your word count, 330. They didn't even look at the word count that said that. You know, like, I don't know what to tell you. Help me to help you. Still thinking about, still getting ready for rules 1 and 2? I didn't forget. I'll come back to them. Okay. Second, each of these statements must be based on and reflect your understanding of the yes and no articles associated with the issues. The opinion statements must be exclusively based on the assigned issues and taking sides. Use of any other sources will result in no credit for that written assignment. Now, I'm not saying you can't refer in addition to the material in taking sides. If you want to make a point about something, that's fine. But what some students have done is like, you don't think I would figure this out? Instead of getting the book and reading the issue, they would plug in, does immigration benefit the economy, and just Google it, and whatever came up, they copy and paste it. Please, I'm not a dope. I can figure that out. You didn't read the articles, so you got to get the book and read the articles. Now, the way these books are set up, and there's about, I don't know, 15, 20 of these taking sides books, and there are all kinds of things. There's one on moral issues, and another one on peace positions, and there's another one on family. So it's a gold mine for the editors, and it's pretty smart what they did. So let's take the first issue. Does immigration benefit the economy? What they do is they search all the professional journals, and they find somebody who wrote a yes article. It does benefit the economy. Then they search the professional journals and find somebody who wrote a no article, and then they package them together. Now, I point this out because sometimes you'll be reading these and they go, they don't directly correspond to each other. Hey, that's because they didn't commission these two to write for this book. They just took an article that says yes and another article said no and packaged them together. So the way each of these issues work is, first of all, there will be an introduction to the issues written by the editors. Then you'll read the yes position. Then you'll read the no position. Then there'll be a postscript at the end, kind of summarizing the whole thing. Okay, so that's how they're all set up. The opinion statements must, I already covered that. At least 3 direct quotes from the articles must be included, followed by the page numbers in parentheses. Okay, why do you need 3 direct quotes? Well, because I want you to, first of all, prove to me you read the articles, and second of all, I want you to back up your points. Why do you think that? Well, because when the author said this, and you're going to have a direct quote, not a paraphrase, so it's going to start off with quotation mark, blah, 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 blah. I couldn't agree more with the author when she said blah, 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 end quote. And then in parentheses after the quote, what page number did you find that on? Page 36 in the book. Ta-da! You don't need 3 direct quotes from yes and 3 direct quotes from no, just 3 for the entire paper. Students may also include in each statement issues or concepts in support of their personal opinions, which they believe the authors did adequately consider. Nobody's saying this is the end all to the discussion on immigration benefiting the economy. It's just 2 authors' take on it. So you may have other information you want to introduce or other thoughts you want to include, or even some personal experiences that you want to include to help make the points you're trying to make. It's very important that when you write these, you do not rehash what the authors simply had to say. I read them, you read them. If you spend the first part of the paper going, the yes position said the following, blah, 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 blah. Let me summarize the no position. No, don't do that. I read it, you read it. I want 350 words of what do you think about this, and I want you to take a position. Now, you may say, well, I don't have a position on this. Take a position. There is no, I don't have a position on this. In the world, when you say I don't have a position, it means you're okay with the way things are. That is a position. So if I say to you, what's your position on capital punishment in Pennsylvania? Say, well, I don't have a position. I'm neutral on that. No, you're not, because by default, when you're neutral, you're in favor of the way things are. And so because there is capital punishment in Pennsylvania, you say, well, I'm neutral on that. You are effectively in favor of capital punishment in Pennsylvania because you are not arguing against it or taking any action against it. There is no neutral in the political world, and the world is political. So you must take a position. Why? Because these issues are all issues we are confronting right now in this world, and you're going to have to even vote depending on your thinking about these issues. So this course is an opportunity to get more informed than you might have been before about these issues. And I'm not trying to persuade you with, well, it's what's in the taking sides issues. That's the end all. No. It's just now when you read those, you knew more than you did before on the issue. And now you're even better prepared to make an informed decision about what way you're going to go with this particular issue. Let's see. There's going to be something else I was going to say on that, but it'll occur to me. All assignments must be written in Times New Roman 12-point font, standard 1-inch margins, and double spaced. Most of you as majors, not all of you, most of you as majors, your major requires APA format, which is what this is. So just get into the habit of doing it. I know there's MLA, and maybe that's what eventually your particular major might be, literature, and you'll be using MLA, but that's okay. In the meantime, at least learn how to do this. Such as Times New Roman 12-point font, standard 1-inch margin, double space. Get into the habit of doing it on all your papers. That's sort of the default for most papers here at Cedar Crest until you're into a major where you're learning MLA. By the way, you'll learn how to do all these formats in the spring when you take Writing 100. Okay, when you go to the Canvas materials and you go to the left navigation area and click on Assignments, you will see personal opinion statements where I spell out in infinite detail everything I just said to you. Included in there is an example of how to write one of these personal opinion statements. So watch carefully. You will notice it's at least 350 words. You will see in it is at least 3 direct quotes, and you will see at the end of each direct quote is the page number from which it was taken. Now, I know you're thinking, man, are you particular? Don't you think you're being a little too picky with all these things? Oh, I will take points off if you don't have, you only get half credit if you miss even including the page numbers. And here's why. Many of you, for example, are nursing majors. So if you're filling the hypodermic needle, you say, well, I was close. Unfortunately, it killed the patient. Nah. You got to learn to be precise. If you can't even follow the instructions in writing one of these papers, how the hell are you going to be in the nursing program? Come on, people. Focus, focus, focus. You can do this. It's easy. Okay, the personal opinion statement for each issue is due to be submitted to the appropriate discussion board in Canvas by midnight on the day listed in the Canvas course materials and in the Canvas course calendar. So not only is there Canvas course calendar, which when you're on home, you can look off to the right and see the course calendar, but you also notice when you click on the syllabus in Canvas, below the syllabus is a chronological order of when your assignments are due. What I would recommend you do is with the Canvas course calendar, you can jive all the assignments and all your courses in the one master calendar. And that's what you ought to pay attention to, because one of the important things when you go to college is get organized. You must get organized. And so you need to know what's due each week. I can't tell you how many times people have forgotten to do certain parts of this course in a timely manner because they forgot. They just forgot. They weren't organized. They didn't go back and look at the materials, and then they realized, oh my gosh, I missed that. There is something going on almost every day in every week in this course. So pay attention. Get a master calendar of everything you have to do. It is a key to success in going to college. You have to be highly organized. Every minute counts. Okay, personal opinion statements written correctly according to the criteria and submitted on time will receive full credit for each one. Now, on time means like the first one is due, so looking at the calendar, September 6th by midnight. You can submit it before then, but you got to submit it by that time, by midnight on September 6th. If you submit it at 12:01, it's half credit because you will receive no credit because it's late. So a personal opinion written inadequately as per the criteria, meaning you had less than 350 words, or you did not have 3 direct quotes, and or you did not put the page numbers after each direct quote. As I said, you're only going to get half credit even if you submit it on time. Statements submitted late will receive no credit even if you did them absolutely correctly. You need to get things done in a timely manner. As I said, you can submit these well in advance. You don't have to wait till Sunday, because if you wait till Sunday and something goes wrong with your computer or something, don't get in touch with me with the excuse like, oh man, at the last minute my computer crashed. Yeah, well, you had 2 weeks to get this sucker in. You can get them all in ahead of time. Students will not be graded on their opinions or the arguments that they present in these personal opinion statements. I don't grade your opinions. I want you to tell me what your opinion is, which you will share with the other students as well. Now, when you put these into the class discussion, you will see the personal opinion statement matches the class discussions we're going to be doing, because after each Sunday, there'll be a follow-up threaded discussion that week on the topic you just wrote about. In this case, immigration, is it benefiting the economy? So what I want you to do is please post the entire text of your personal opinion statement into the appropriate discussion board. What would be the appropriate one? Well, let's think this through. If you're writing on does immigration benefit the economy, then you want to look for the discussion board that says, does immigration benefit the economy? And just input it there. And there's instructions in the personal opinion statement section on how to put those in there. Please do not put links in there, because it's very hard for people to read. Lots of personal opinion statements, if they have to continue to open up your links, just put the whole thing in there. It's much easier for them to read. It's much easier for me to read. So please put the whole text in there. I suggest you use rich text format, because sometimes, occasionally, some people's computers have problems for whatever reasons reading things if they're not in rich text format, but it's probably a minor consideration. But please place the entire statement into the discussion board. Okay, we'll come back to this in a moment, because I want to talk more about the discussions. But let's pause for a moment. And this is the comedy sorbet to cleanse the intellectual palate. Let's go back, shall we, to Maynard, the living legends, the self-proclaimed living legends, Rules 1 and Rules 2. By now you should have been able to get a pad and pencil and pen ready. Okay, again, these are the keys to success in any Maynard course. Rule number 1, get ready to write this down. I don't care if you learn a damn thing in here, as long as you laugh at the jokes in the presentations. Please write that down. I don't care if you learn a damn thing in here, as long as you laugh at the jokes in the presentations. Now you're thinking, what's the deal with that? Well, I know that sometimes people find some of the material in this course, shall we say, a bit dry. And so I insert my attempts at humor. I don't want to go so far as to say humor, my attempts at humor, just to jolly things up, to make things a little bit more fun, to make the presentations move along. You know, there's been research done, and it's endless research, that when people are enjoying class, they learn more, they do better, they're more effective in what they retain. And so I throw the jokes in just for some laughs. You know, and I'm an equal opportunity insulter with the jokes. I pick on them all. I pick on the liberals, I pick on the conservatives, the president of the not the president of the college, anybody. You know, I picked on Obama, I picked on Bush, I pick on Trump. Hey, because some of the stuff they do, I just disagree with the policies. You know, and so that's okay. And so I'll tell you what I think. I'll give you some jokes. See what you think about it. Anyway. So hopefully it'll lighten things up. Hopefully it'll make things more interesting. And the main thing is, even if the jokes are at your expense, I'm having a good time. And that's probably the most important thing of all. Rule number 2, suck up to me at all times and in all places. Now you're probably thinking, what's the deal with that, Maynard? Well, first of all, you notice how Rule 1 and Rule 2 interlock. What better way to suck up to me than laugh at my jokes? But you're probably thinking, why should we even bother to learn how to suck up to you? Because I am simply an object to suck up to. I'm a practice person for you to suck up to. Why do you need to suck up? Because it's our job as educators to prepare you for life. I can think of no more fundamental skill that I can better prepare you for success in life than learning how to suck up. Now, I know some of you are thinking, I'm too proud for that. I'm not going to suck up. Good luck with that. Everybody learns to suck up, because you got to move ahead in life. Yes, 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 yes. I realize you're going to have wonderful education here and tremendous credentials for going to Cedar Crest. But once you get in that interview for that job, you better learn how to cozy up to the people interviewing you if you want to get it. Because the bottom line comes to, do they like me? Am I a good fit here? Meaning personality wise. And so you want to learn how to do that. And so who better to practice on than me? Now sometimes you'll say things like, well, I was a brilliant lecture mate. Come on, who are we kidding? You got to do better than that. You want to get so good at sucking up that after you get done sucking up, the suck up E doesn't even realize they were sucked up to. They just get this warm, fuzzy feeling about you when it comes to promotion time or, I don't know, putting your grade in. Anyhow, so yes, learn how to do it. Students who, when I have students who are SAGE students and they've been out in the workplace for a while, they all just nod their heads when I start this rap about learning how to suck up. You'll see. Students over the years have told me many stories about how they have learned to suck up thanks to me. Just a moment. It's a little verklempt there when I think about how much I've helped. But anyway, because of me, they've learned to suck up and they've gotten promotions. They've gotten things from their parents they might not otherwise have had. Like, for example, your father or your mother may think he or she's really funny, but they're not, and you don't laugh at their jokes. If you start laughing at their jokes, you may see some good things happening for you. Get it? This isn't rocket science, folks. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, we got rules 1 and 2. Back to the course. Attendance will be monitored as per your participation in the 7 scheduled online threaded discussions based on each of the 7 required personal opinion statements and will comprise a portion of the course grade. These 7 discussions will require students to participate 3 times in each discussion. Okay, now quick, do math. What's 3 times 7? Yes, it's 21. Thus, 21 sessions of which student attendance will be monitored. Students will be graded according to the percentage of these 21 scheduled class discussion sessions in which they participate. Must be important to have a double period there. Absences due to so each week after we submit this personal opinion statement, so on September the 6th, your first personal opinion statement's due on immigration, and then starting on the following Monday, the 7th, is your first opportunity to post into the discussion board what you think about immigration. Got the idea? Okay, so each week there's going to be 3 posts required of you. And so if you do all 3 posts times 7 times discussion, you will get a 100% for your class attendance. If you got 19 of the 21 posts, if you got 19 of the 21 posts done, then your attendance grade will be 19 divided by 21. Quick, what is that? I don't know, but that's how it will work. It will be based on the percentage of times you participated. Absences due to COVID-19 circumstances will constitute an excused absence. Absences due to non-COVID-19 medical issues will constitute an excused absence, but with the doctor's verification necessary. Excused absences are not penalized in determining students' attendance grade. Please notify the instructor. Now, here's another test for you. When it says instructor, to whom do you think that refers? Would that be you, Maynard? That's correct. And if it says students, that refers to you. Perhaps I should have pointed this out before we got into this section. Instructor, students. Instructor, students. Good. Okay. You don't have to tell me what it is. That's your business. Just let me know you need an excused absence for whatever reasons for COVID-19 circumstance. Just let me know what's going on, because otherwise they don't let me know what's going on. I just assume, hey, you blew it off. Now, we're on the honor system here. And so I will trust anybody until I find they're not trustworthy. So, we're on the trust system. I totally trust you. If you tell me you need an excused absence for some COVID-19 circumstance, that's cool. I trust you, you will get your excused absence. You will still have to make up the work, but you will get an excused absence. There are several avenues to learning in addition to reading. Another avenue is testing your thinking and participating in exchanging ideas and opinions on class discussions. Okay, with the class discussions, when you go into assignments, again, in the left navigation area, you will see a whole thing called discussions, where this is explained in infinite detail how this works. But I'm going to explain it now again. Perhaps if you hear me say it and you read it, it's all going to make more sense to you. I can only hope. Okay, I've done this. I do this routinely in my regular online section of SOC 100. It works. It's easy enough to understand. Students get it, so I'm confident you will get it too. In fact, at the end of last semester, when we had a go online midterm, students began to do thread discussions. They all picked it up rapidly and figured out what to do. Okay, so let's go back to the example of, does immigration benefit the economy? You will submit your personal opinion statement by no later than midnight on Sunday, September 6th. And then starting at 12:01, after they're submitted, not before. So if you start the discussion on Sunday morning at 9 a.m., you just didn't listen to a word I just had to say. You can't start the discussion about the topic until everybody posts their personal opinion statements. So if you have three postings in discussion and they're all before people even posted their statements, you get credit for nothing. Okay, so follow the time frames. This is why they're called a threaded discussion. You're going to make 3 different posts in 3 different time periods in the week following the submission of the personal opinion statement on, does immigration benefit the economy? So this is all laid out in infinite detail. I even give you the time frame for each one of the threaded discussions for each one of the discussion boards. So all you have to do is follow the framework that's in there. So on Monday, from Monday at 12:01 a.m. until Tuesday at midnight, your task is to read as many of the personal opinion statements as you care to read, and then comment to one of the people who wrote that person, to the person who wrote that personal opinion statement, as to what you think about something she said in there. Okay? What constitutes a high quality comment? You want to have about 4 to 5 sentences. It's got to be thoughtful. And so I say, well, it's not thoughtful enough. 4 to 5 sentences seems to be appropriate as a thoughtful, you gave it some thought kind of a response. Okay, that's your first posting. If you did that on Monday or Tuesday up until midnight, so you got 2 days to get your first posting in. You have your first post in for the week. Your second posting must be done on Wednesday. Well, what if I'm busy on Wednesday? Can I do 2 on Monday? Yeah, you can, but you won't get credit for the second one. You got to do it within the time frame. Your second posting on Wednesday will be not to one of the personal opinion statements, as you did on Monday and Tuesday, but instead to what somebody else said in their posting. It doesn't have to be even the same student. You go to somebody else's posting in terms of his or her comment, and then you can comment on that. You will then, and you have all day Wednesday, starting at 12:01 a.m. until midnight to make that post. Then from Thursday at 12:01 a.m. up and for you late owls, up until noon on Friday, not midnight, till noon on Friday, you make your third post. And so that's to something somebody else said, or your continued conversation with the same student, however you want to play this. That's why it's a threaded discussion. Threaded discussions are designed to try to simulate what happens in the classroom. So you don't make 3 comments at once in the classroom. Somebody says something, somebody else says something, you comment, somebody says something, you comment. So by following the time frames for the threaded discussion I have outlined, you are effectively replicating a face-to-face class discussion. So please follow the time frames. You can't have 3 posts in one day. You have to have 1 in each of the required time frames. I have them listed by date for each one of the discussions. I have the dates for each one, so just follow it. Okay. So that gets into these threaded discussions in a timely and meaningful manner. Students will be graded on a point system in these threaded discussions based on 5 criteria, all described in detail in the Canvas course material under discussions. And so I already gave you one of the criteria. Is it thoughtful? Did you put enough into it? And you will see in the criteria there, if you just say, gee, Sally, I agree. No points for that one. That's not thoughtful enough. You got to come up with something. So you got to come up with something thoughtful, and it's got to be timely. You can earn up to 20 points, and the criteria are all there as to how I score these for high quality and timely participation in each of the threaded discussions. So if you did 2 postings on Monday and 1 on Wednesday, forgot 1 on Friday, you're automatically going to lose 7 points because the second one on Monday didn't count. You got to follow the time frames. Now, if you did a real good job, you got 3 thoughtful, timely comments, you'll probably get an 18, maybe a 19 from me. However, you'll earn it, not from me. You'll have earned that. However, I reserve the right to give people up to 20 who post more than 3 thoughtful comments. So if you had 2 on Monday, 1 on Wednesday, 1 on Friday, and they're all thoughtful and they're all 4 to 5 sentences, you can earn up to 20 points, and I'll give you extra bonus points for even, because sometimes students get really into these discussions, and that's great. I'll give you extra points for that, up to 20. Everybody got it? So please read all the material in those discussions. Okay, to prepare for it, well, let me talk a little bit more about the discussions. When we have these discussions, here's the most important thing. I think one of the neat things that's happened in this course, and I do these discussions either threaded or face-to-face in so many of my courses, is to have an open mind. And an open mind means, you know what, I currently have a position on this. However, I am open to persuasion that if you can come up with evidence to show that what I think is incorrect, I'm willing to change my point of view. These days, there are not a lot of people willing to do that. We are so entrenched in our positions, whether it's liberal, conservative, or it's for Trump, hate Trump, we're not even listening whatever the people have to say. Okay, so first of all, open your mind. And I know most people go, oh, I'm real open-minded. And I find in class, yeah, students are until we get to a particular topic, in which case, no, in this one, this is the way it is. There is no room for argument. Well, that's kind of interesting, because obviously there are people who would disagree with you because they have a different point of view. And their point of view is not invalid just because it disagrees with you. And so let's assume you have 80% of the truth with your argument. There's still 20% of the truth you ain't getting because it's the other argument which you refuse to accept. So if you want the whole truth, or as Gandhi referred to it, satyagraha, you gotta listen to what everybody else has to say. But I'm hoping you go the extra mile. The way we can break down this divisiveness in our country is to take the time to not only listen to what other people have to say, but understand. So here's what I notice even happens in the class discussions, because people still are not trying to be open-minded, is when somebody else is talking, and we've all done this, including me, you're not even listening to what they have to say. You're just getting ready to say what you want to say, so that as soon as they shut their flap trap, you can say what you want to say, and you never heard a word they just said. And it's the same thing. Notice this. Just observe yourself sometime. Don't go by me. Observe yourself. When somebody's talking and you're raising your hand, you're not listening to what they have to say. You're busy waiting to get called on and preparing what you're going to say when you finally get called on. And so good form is don't raise your hand till that person's done talking. It's not so much that it's rude, although it is a little rude, but wait until the person's done. Listen to them. Sometimes people have their hand up, they get called on, they say what they want to say, and it's exactly what the person just said, and they weren't listening, right? So first of all, listen and try to understand why people think the way they do, even if it's different from you. It's not invalid that they differ with you. There are good reasons why they hold it, deep-seated values as to why they believe what they believe. And you owe it to yourself and to them to understand what it is. See, if we all did that, we could find some common ground between liberals and conservatives. We could find common ground between Trumpers and never Trumpers. Yeah. But we don't do that. And instead, we just get more and more entrenched in our own positions. And as a result, you see the mess we're in our society today. We're as divisive as we've ever been since, in my experience, the 1960s. Okay, so please listen to what other people have to say. Now, included in the threaded discussions is, you also see under discussions is discussion etiquette. And discussion etiquette is how to not be rude when you're participating in a discussion. So just read the points in there and follow those points so that you don't make any mistakes and either inadvertently or, let's say, ignorantly, you didn't know any better, did something that was rude in the class discussion. So please look at that as well. Okay, we covered that. Finally, the last element of the course, to prepare for and successfully complete 3 multiple choice exams which will test your mastery of concepts covered in the sociology text. Now, first of all, you notice I didn't say to prepare for and do extremely well on the 3 multiple choice exams. Why, you may ask? Do I want you to do well? Sure, I want you to do well. I hope everybody earns an A in this course. You know, sometimes people get back to me and say, well, I didn't deserve this grade. It's not a question of deserving it. It's a question of what you earned. You earned it or you didn't. It's pretty objective in this course. You know, what did you earn? Okay, now, if I would have said to prepare for and successfully get an A in every one of the exams, see, that's holding the bar way too high. Now, why is that a problem? Because there's an old saying, he or she who has no expectations is never disappointed. Think about that. The only time you've ever been disappointed is when you had expectations about what you wanted or thought was going to happen. Then when it didn't, you go, ooh. It's like, have a nice day. Which day isn't? It's all according to your expectations. More on that later in the course. Anyway, so why prepare myself for high expectations and then only be disappointed if not everyone gets an A, right? And so I'm just happy if you complete it. That way it's impossible for me to be disappointed with your performance. Okay, moving on. As I said, to best prepare, as I said before, to best prepare, students should first read the chapters and then regularly watch instructor presentations that will be available in Canvas in each of the 25 chapters in the sociology text. So once again, read chapter 1, listen to Maynard's presentation on it while you have your book open and the review sheet handy. What review sheets? I'm getting to that. Moreover, by regularly viewing the instructor presentations, you will at least subliminally experience the oratorical stylings and spellbinding informative presentations of the instructor. Damn, I'm proud of that sentence. The first exam will cover the first 9 chapters, and the remaining 2 exams will each cover 8 chapters. There is no final exam. Woohoo! Review sheets are available in the course material for each of the 3 exams, indicating all of the topics covered by the exams. So you will find this under assignments, under cumulative exams, where it indicates when the exams are going to take place. There's a review sheet for each of the exams. There is no question on any of the exams that's not on the review sheets. Now, let me tell you this. You can, if you wish, just go, well, I don't want to listen to Maynard's presentations. I'll just study the review sheets. I'll take the easy way out. I will guarantee you will not do well in the exam. Why? Because you will not understand the context in which the questions are placed. These questions are all from a test bank. And the reason why I use questions from a test bank is I make no bones about the fact that I may or may not be good at preparing test questions. And so these are test bank questions that have been tested across the country with typical college students. Well, I'm thinking those are typical college students. You're Cedar Crest, you're elite students. Therefore, surely you will do even better than they did on these test questions. So I know the questions are fair. They've been tested across the country. So that's why I use test bank questions. Now, when I select these questions, I have different choices. I can take knowledge questions, but I don't usually use knowledge questions. There is only two knowledge questions on this whole of all the three exams. Is a reason why I want you to know those